Today is March 16, 2023. Last night I was at my client's on Turquoise Street. I walked outside and they yelled, "Will, did you tell him you helped out?" Yeah, I told him. Why would you tell him you helped out, bastards? You gonna blame poor pathetic Ron? That's a liar? Strange that's a liar? Why would you help out? Because you know what I did? I went in and I did the fibromyalgia. It goes in spontaneous remission, fibromyalgia. 80% of the people go into it. First 2 years. And then following after that. And with Ron's kid being RN nurse, she would know that. And that all the swelling I had in my legs was, like the one nurse said, it was probably a medication error. I was probably allergic to one of them. And that's where all the excessive amount of fluid would kept building up in my lower body. And I couldn't pump it out. And that's why my knees were popping out. And that's why it took months and months and months and months for my body. Because I could still go to the bathroom, fine. But I just couldn't keep up with all the fluid I was swallowing. And that's when everything stopped working from all the steroids and all the other stuff they were giving me. And I had to get off of it, get on pain medicine, get out moving. And then it took about 8 months for it to go into spontaneous remission. And strange, lying to everyone, 4 months later, she was faking she was sick and thinking she got well. While Ron was grieving. And I wasn't thinking. He came to the hospital. He prayed for me. I had 610 surgeries within about 2 years, front and back. And I had endometriosis. I had a kidney stone that clamped off the kidney, shut off the kidney. My kidney was bleeding. They had to go through my back and cut off the damaged part and re-sew it back together. I got a 4-inch scar. I had complete hysterectomy in 2 sections. I had my appendix out, my gallbladder, and then they had to go in and repair where cysts were bursting several times. Then I had a clump of scar tissue clumped together, and they had to go in and take it out. So that's not counting all the kidney stones from all the drugs they were giving me that they were going in and trying to put stents in there in my kidneys. So where was I faking? I wasn't. I was left with so much pain. I went into pain management. They gave me trigger point injections. I got 30 injections once a month. Don't ever go there. Don't ever do that. I gained 100 pounds. They put me on alternative drugs, and I started swelling. And my feet were numb from the swelling. I got an MRI showing a great big fluid cyst and excess swelling in my legs. Cleveland Clinic documented it. And then everything stopped working from all the swelling. Somebody had told me that there was a doctor that treated pain with pain medication, and they get people out moving, you get better. So I went there, and he said, I'm going to get you off all these other medication. I'm going to start you on all this medicine for pain. He said, you've been so tight, because that's one of the things, your muscles contract with fibromyalgia. And so they get little like knots in them. He said, and they get so rigid. He said, what I'm going to do is just learn to relax, straighten them, learn to relax, straighten them. And he said, then we'll get you moving. And then as you get to relax, you get to moving a little bit more. We'll get to exercising, but there's no hurry. First month I puked from all the pain medicine. Second month, I could drive my own car. Had canes, only wore braces because the fluid was pushing my knees out of place and my feet were swollen and numb. Sometimes I could walk with, after I started getting better, because they were so swollen, I could walk without the braces, and I'd hold on to something just to balance, and then I'd land up on my butt and get up because I'm stubborn. Other times, I could just walk with just the canes, or the braces just held the knees in place because the fluid would pop them out. I was going to orthopedic doctors, and they pull out turkey-based syringes of fluid and put more steroids in it. Pain off the chart. So once I could drive, I started pulling myself around stores, doing my own grocery shopping, pulling myself around malls, got mobile. My kids had a paper route, and I pulled myself around the paper route. I started with them in November. By May, were working on our house, and the kids didn't go to the church baseball game, because of we were working on our home. And Brian showed up, and he said, Tyler and Phil were killed. He said, and I'm like, what do you mean they were killed? Now, that day I'd been walking around with just braces, no canes. There was times I could take steps without my braces. I was getting so much better. And I had lost a lot of weight because I'm out there working and walking the paper out with the canes and braces, thinking, when is this going to go into spontaneous remission? Because it does it 80% of the time, and I'm working my butt off. The one doctor even wanted to put weights on my legs, trying to get the muscles tighter. And yeah, and I said, what do you mean? He said, Phil ran a stop sign, and a semi hit him, and other people were following him, and they seen the wreck. And he said it was so bad. There are cult people. Instead of calling Ron, what they did is they called Strange. And he called him a liar, called him names, and hung up on him. Again and again, he said it was horrible. He said they had to wait till they got the bodies to the hospital to call Ron to tell him his son had been killed. And my kids are all freaking out, okay? 2 months later, a missionary shows up. And he prays for me, and he gives me this big, big lecture of fight, fight, fight. You rebuke the pain, you fight through the pain, you keep going, you do this, you do that, football thing, fight, Next day, I get out on the paper route, and I'm pulling myself on the back allotment with my canes. Nothing happened. Second day, I'm out there without my braces and my canes trying to get balance. Nothing happened. Third day, nothing happened. Fourth day, I'm out there with one cane trying to get balance. And it finally went into remission. It took another 2 months for all the swelling to go down out of my legs. I was still falling at times. Now, and it took 6 months to get off all those pain medications. And once the swelling went down, my thyroid started working and everything else. I was basically drowning in my own fluids, even though I was going to the bathroom. Like the nurse said, it was probably some kind of medication error, and it's a good thing you got off of it and they didn't catch it. So, what had anything to do with anything? Nothing. They even knew I was getting well. People were coming up before Tyler and Phil died. Karen, you've lost so much weight. You're doing so much. Because I'm out there walking all the time. I had dropped a ton of weight where I'd gained 100 pounds from the steroids. Yeah. And so nothing had to do with nothing. Well, 4 months later, Danny and my son Danny and my son Josh have been acting out. They're teenagers, 14 and 16. They were going out with some guys that were in their 20s, and they were buying them alcohol. So I grounded them. Grounded their dumb butts. And I kept grounding them, and Dave kept letting them go out with them. And I kept grounding them. It's like, you will have a future. Okay? That morning, from getting off of all the pain medicine, I kept getting migraines. So I stayed home, and Josh is in the basement asleep in his room. And Danny comes in after church. You're not my mother, and I don't have to listen to you. He's 14. It's like you're grounded. He runs out, and we go looking for him. We go over to his girlfriend Heather and her mother Joyce and her sister Brazilia's home. And they said, well, Danny's been thinking about trying to kill himself. And I'm like, kill himself? He said they want him to help destroy people in the church, and he said he'd rather die. I'm freaking out, okay? He'd been thinking about it for a while. So we're driving up and down the streets looking for him. I'm freaking out. My little 14-year-old kid's thinking about killing himself. Been thinking about it for a while. So I see Strange's car at the church. I have Josh pull, and I said, don't say anything, because I want to talk to Danny and find out what's going on if I can find him. And I go and there's a glass door. I step in. I said, hi, have you seen Danny? He takes and pins me like this into the back door. Confess you weren't sick. I said, I'd never do that. I had 6 10 surgeries. I got scars everywhere. I have MRI reports, blood work, doctor's reports. He even came to the hospitals and prayed for me. knew better. I said, I'd never do that. He's like, you're a spoiled little brat. Nobody likes in this church. And I said, well, you never did like me. He's like, you'll be lucky to see your kid again. Now get out of my church. Okay? Josh is sitting in the car going, I come out and I got a big welt on my face. We go up. Dave's working at Pizza Hut delivering because he didn't always have these big jobs. And so I go up and he's like, let me clock out. I'll come get you. Go home. So I did, and he never came back, and I drove by, and he's at that church. He comes home, he said, Strange says you're Satan. You can't go to church anymore. I said, what? And he said, well, down with Danny, he'll give him back. I said, what do you mean down with Danny? I call my mom. Now, Nick's my nephew, Strange's grandson, the one that's a minister of it. He's actually my nephew. My sister's married to his son. My mom calls Nick and said, you better give Danny back. He said, we'll give him back when we're done. My mom wouldn't go back because she was afraid he'd take her. Okay? So Danny gets back. We finally get Danny back. He's shaking. He's like, I'm sorry, Mom. He lied to me. He lied. And I keep looking at him. You know why they threw me out? Come on now. Dave was cheating. And that was a stunt. Because why wouldn't you say, my God, give me my kid back. You assaulted my wife. I'm going to put your butt in jail. Because that would be normal. That was a stunt. For them to throw me out so Dave could cheat. That's all it was. It was a stunt for them to throw me out so Dave could have his home life and he could have his church girlfriend. They just threw me out so he could date. That's all it was. Because otherwise it'd be, my God, give me my kid. You're like, I don't put you in jail for assaulting my wife and kidnapping my kid. But no. I can't quit my church. Well, why couldn't you quit your church? Because it was a stunt for him to cheat. Come on now. Well, Danny tried to kill himself twice. He was so upset. Took a car, went to run it into a tree, and went rolling off to the side. And then a dirt bike went to run it into a telephone pole and running after him, screaming, and he wrecks. He was on medication, and he was in counseling for 2 years. Now, I want you to think just for him to cheat. It is just for him to cheat. Strange lied to everybody. I went in his office and was supposed to confess to adultery and all kinds of crazy stuff. I never cheated on Dave. Dave cheated on me, though. And that was just for him to cheat. It was just a big setup and a big scam for him to cheat. That's it. Okay? And that was 4 months after I got well. Okay? Now, they're all playing everybody. If you Google spontaneous remission of fibromyalgia, it's 80% of the time. Comes right up on Google. Ron's one daughter's a RN nurse since 15. She would know that. They're all playing everybody. Let's see. And a lot of Paymer's church are nurses, doctors, psychiatrists. They would know that too. And figure it was a medication error like the nurse said. It was probably just a medication error, and it's a good thing you got off that medicine. I even had like a large cyst, a fluid-filled cyst next to my knee. It took forever for it to dissolve. And it's all documented through Cleveland Clinic and MRIs and other doctors and orthopedic doctors. It's a good thing I got off of it. Because everything stopped working because I was so full of fluid. Now, why would you say you would help? For Eric's, all the tapes before were me and not her, where they kicked in my door, date rape, drugged me, and Photoshop shower scenes? Y'all fell for it? It was my idea to come up with it, my idea to say it, my idea to do it, for all these people to turn on her, and they actually fell for it. November 18, 22, 2 to 6 p.m., Walmart 62 by the hair salon. What camera in the hair salon? Camera right above him. They caught him, and then ID'd November 24th, 22 at Mercy Medical. Of that Eric making fun of everybody for falling for this. Some stalker kicking in my door, watching me, photoshopping scenes, date rape, drugging me, and then you guys are all making fun of me. You know, I got to thinking, and I think I nailed something, and everybody disappeared. Today I nailed something else. The one coworker I was working with, she said her family member was taken by these people, okay? And she said they tied her up and cut her up. That's second satanic. And they had people show up and make fun of her how they killed her. Okay? My other house manager's niece was taken too. I got to thinking, well, they're human traffickers, okay? But they're killing people. Why would you cut somebody up? That's satanic. Then I got to thinking, when it first started, people were following me. She's 5'3", she weighs this much, she has no bad habits. She listens to this kind of music, da-da-da-da, and they were profiling me. Why would you care if I had bad habits? They have a doctor watching her. Why would you have a doctor watching you? Are they human trafficking organs? Why would you cut somebody into pieces? That's millions of dollars, black market organs. I said that, people scattered. It is what's going on in it. Usually when I nail stuff, people scatter. Because that's why they're grabbing people. I didn't fit the criteria. Because somebody came on and said he's no longer interested in you. Well, good. But they have a doctor watch me. Why would they have a doctor on call? He's the one doing the transplant surgery, isn't he? It's millions of dollars, black market. See, the whole thing of it is, why would you help these people? And see, when I tried to tell Will what happened at Huntington Bank, where the guy threatened to knife me, the Pizza Hut lady getting paid to watch me, and then banker screaming at him and then walking off together, and he was the guy that tried to kidnap me. Was there a camera above you while you're sitting on the bench when he first came out? I don't know. You don't look for that. You try to get away from the bastard. Well, my place to look for a camera. You don't. You know what I mean? And then saying, I'll put you in jail. I'll arrest you. Fine, whatever. He didn't want him because that's a kidnap. And where I was talking to that lady that said they cut up her family member, I said, well, you know the white man? How'd you know about the white man? The white guy with the tattoos. I'm telling you, if they pull my case between July and September 19th, midnight to 3, the one guy had been telling everybody was FBI and he's got a fake FBI badge. That might be how he's kidnapping people. And I bet he's the second kidnapper. They pulled my case. And I'm telling you, and I said, well, you know, the Florida place that were here, all the men from Florida, they were saying, telling people they were drug traders. She goes to bar, she's like, yeah, I know that. I said, you know about Henry Muffin? That sounds familiar, I know of him. And I said, well, they said they were a gentleman's club from Florida. She's like, actually, they said they were this. There was a girl at the ATM taken that they sold a login by Thanksgiving of 18. One of the girls that were helping follow me around, she was taken at the ATM. There was a girl, 5'3", 135, blonde, taken. The Asian lady said her husband was killed up there. I bet he did get killed. And then her and her family disappeared last year. They probably took him too. It's a big human trafficking group, drug trading. And I'm telling you, when they're profiling people, why would they care if you have a habit? They're just going to kill you anyways. And why do they have a doctor on call? Everybody's scattered. Seriously. Like they said, the case was strange lying to everybody. You were faking you're sick and faking you got well for them to turn on you. And for them trying to kill you. That's actually the case. But the case has become more sinister because that agent included itself in that retired judge of human trafficking, drug trafficking, selling police information, rape, torture. Exactly. It's became... I talked to somebody and they said that they figure it's just pure greed. I call it pure Satanism. I'm going to go ahead and upload this. But people need to realize how evil and sick all this is. It hits levels of, oh my God, case. And I'm not the only victim.